The evidence arrives before the crime. That's how I know who dies and when they die. And that's how I learned that trying to stop a murder can be the thing that causes it. My name is Inspector Elias Vane. This is report number 292. And I need you to understand something before we begin. I didn't kill Emily Rivera because I wanted to. I killed her because I tried to save her. Let me start at the beginning. The evidence bag appeared in lockup at 3:17 a.m. on a Tuesday. No case number, no chain of custody, no officer signature. Inside a kitchen knife, 8 inches long, covered in blood that was still wet. By 3:19 a.m., I had run the blood through the database. By 3:23 a.m., I had a match. Emily Rivera, age 29, high school teacher, lives alone on Clement Street. By 3:25 a.m., I had called her apartment. She answered on the third ring, alive, confused, asked me why I was calling her at 3 in the morning. I told her I'd explain in person. I told her to lock her doors. I told her not to let anyone inside. I didn't tell her that according to the evidence in my hand, she would be dead in 48 hours. I didn't tell her that I had no idea how I knew that. And I didn't tell her that the time stamp on the evidence bag, the one that shouldn't exist, read logged 3:17 a.m. Thursday, 2 days from now. I arrived at the precinct at 2:47 a.m. because I couldn't sleep. I've been having the dreams again. The ones where I'm investigating a crime that hasn't happened yet. Where the victims look at me like I'm the one who killed them. When the dreams get bad, it's better to just work. The evidence lockup was supposed to be empty at that hour. Officer Chen has the overnight shift, but he takes his breaks in the garage where he can smoke without setting off alarms. I wasn't looking for anything specific. I was just walking, trying to clear my head. That's when I smelled it. Ozone, sharp and electric, like the air before a lightning strike. It was coming from the secured evidence room, the one that requires 2 keys and a logged entry to access. The door was locked. The log showed no entries since 6 p.m. But the smell was getting stronger. I used my key. The lock clicked open with a sound like ice cracking. The room was exactly as it should be. Metal shelves, labeled bags, fluorescent lights humming their constant dying song. Everything in order, except for the bag on the processing table. It sat in the center, perfectly placed, as if waiting for me. Clear plastic, standard evidence format, zip seal top. The knife inside caught the light like an accusation. I approached slowly. The air around the bag was cold, not cool cold. The kind of cold that shouldn't exist in a climate-controlled room. My breath misted. I pulled on gloves, picked up the bag. It had weight, substance, reality. This wasn't a prank or a hallucination. This was physical evidence. But the tag made no sense. Case number blank. Collected by blank. Location 2847 Clement Street, apartment 4B. Date and time logged 3:17 a.m. Thursday. I checked my watch. 3:01 a.m. Tuesday. The evidence was dated 48 hours. In the future, I opened the bag. The smell of blood hit me immediately, copper and iron, and something underneath that I couldn't name, something that smelled like time. The knife was standard, kitchen blade, wooden handle, 8 inches. Blood on the edge, the handle dried in the textured grip. I swabbed it, ran it through the rapid DNA scanner we use for preliminary matches. 3 minutes later, I had a name, Emily Rivera. I pulled her file, no criminal record, no complaints, no connection to any open cases. I called her. She answered on the 3rd ring, voice thick with sleep. Hello? Ms. Rivera, this is Inspector Elias Vane with the police department. I need to ask you some questions. It's 3 in the morning. I know, I'm sorry. Are you alone? Yes. Why? Are your doors locked? Inspector, what is this about? I looked at the knife on the table, at the blood, at the time stamp that said she'd be dead in 48 hours. Ms. Rivera, I need you to stay inside your apartment. Lock your doors and windows. Don't let anyone in. I'm coming to you now. You're scaring me. Good. Stay scared, stay alert. I'll be there in 20 minutes. I arrived at 2847 Clement Street at 3:34 a.m. The building was old brick, 4 stories. The kind of place where rent is cheap because the heat doesn't work and the hallways smell like decades of cooking and living. Apartment 4B was on the top floor. Emily Rivera answered the door with a baseball bat in her hands and fear in her eyes. Inspector Vane? I showed my badge. Can I come in? She stepped aside. The apartment was small, neat, filled with books and student artwork, a teacher's apartment, safe, normal, except for the kitchen. I walked to it without asking permission. Standard layout, gas stove, wooden cutting board, block of knives on the counter. One slot was empty. Miss Rivera, where's your 8-inch chef's knife? She frowned. I don't know. I thought it was there. When did you last see it? I don't remember. A few days ago. I don't use it often. I pulled out my phone, showed her a photo I'd taken of the evidence. Is this your knife? Her face went pale. Where did you find that? I need you to answer the question. It looks like mine. The handle is the same, but why is that blood? I put the phone away. Miss Rivera, I need you to think very carefully. Is there anyone who might want to hurt you? An ex-partner, a student's parent, anyone you've had conflict with? No, I mean, there are difficult parents sometimes, but nothing that would... She stopped. Inspector, please tell me what's going on. I looked at her, early 30s, tired but defiant. The kind of person who became a teacher because she believed in saving people one student at a time. I knew that look. I'd seen it before. My sister had that look 20 years ago when I tried to warn her about her boyfriend. She didn't listen. 3 months later, I was identifying her body. I believe you might be in danger, I said. I'm going to stay close to you for the next 48 hours. 48 hours? Why 48? Because that's how long you have. Nothing happened on Tuesday. I followed her to Westside High School, sat in the back of her classroom while she taught American history to rooms full of teenagers who barely looked at me, waited outside the teacher's lounge during lunch, walked her home at 4 p.m. Her apartment was still secure. All knives accounted for, except the one in evidence. I checked the evidence bag at 11:47 p.m. Still there, still bloody. The timestamp still read Thursday, 3:17 a.m., 27 hours until the crime that hadn't happened yet. I slept in my car outside her building, engine running, eyes on her window. Wednesday, 6:23 a.m. My phone rang. Dispatch. Officer Chen's voice, confused and apologetic. Inspector, we have a situation in evidence lockup. You need to see this. I was there in 12 minutes. Chen was standing outside the evidence room, face pale. I didn't touch anything. I swear I didn't touch anything. Show me. He opened the door. The knife was gone. In its place, a small glass vial, half full of clear liquid, an evidence tag with the same impossible timestamp. Case number, blank. Item, arsenic solution, 50 milliliters. Victim, Emily Rivera. Time of death, Thursday, 3:17 a.m. Cause, poisoning. I picked up the vial with gloved hands. It was cold. The ozone smell was stronger now. Chen, who has access to this room? You, me, Captain Morris, and evidence techs. But the log shows no entries since you were here yesterday. I looked at the vial, at the new method, at the same victim and the same timestamp. The evidence had evolved. I'd prevented the stabbing by staying with her, by removing the knife as a weapon. So it had changed. Poison instead. I spent Wednesday controlling every variable. Bottled water I bought myself. Sealed food from restaurants I chose randomly. I watched her eat, watched her drink, monitored everything. Nothing happened. Wednesday, 11:59 p.m. I checked the evidence room. The vial was gone. In its place, a gun, 9mm, barrel cold but real. Cause, gunshot wound. Time of death, Thursday, 3:17 a.m. I stared at it. The evidence was adapting faster now. Knife, prevented by protection. Poison, prevented by control. Now, a gun, direct, unavoidable, final, Thursday, midnight, 17 hours until the timestamp. I knocked on Emily's door. She answered in pajamas, exhausted. Inspector, it's midnight. I know. I'm not leaving you alone tonight. This is necessary. The threat has evolved. I need to be inside the apartment. She looked at me for a long time, then stepped aside. I sat in a chair facing her bedroom door. She didn't argue. I think some part of her was starting to believe me. The hours crawled. At 2:47 a.m., Emily came out of her bedroom. I can't sleep. I understand. She sat on the couch. Can I ask you something? Yes. How do you know I'm going to die? I've been dreading this question. I have evidence. What kind of evidence predicts a murder? Of a kind that arrives before it happens. She stared at me. That's not possible. I know. But you believe it. I've seen it, touched it, documented it. Every time I prevent one method, another appears. The victim stays the same. The time stays the same. Only the weapon changes. She trailed off. Inspector, this sounds like a self-fulfilling prophecy. The oracle tells the king he'll be killed by his son, so the king abandons the child, which creates the circumstances that fulfill the prophecy. I looked at her. You investigate my murder, she said quietly. Might be the thing that causes it. The words hung in the air between us. I know, I said. Then stop. I can't. Why not? 20 years ago, my sister was murdered. I tried to warn her. She didn't listen. I was too late. I looked at Emily. I won't be too late again. She was quiet for a long time. Then, I'm not your sister. And maybe the best way to save me is to not try to save me. I can't do that. Even if trying makes it worse, I have to try. She looked at me with something like pity. Then you're not trying to save me. You're trying to save yourself from guilt. 3:17 a.m. approached like an executioner. At 3 a.m., I moved to the center of the living room, where I could see every door, every window. Emily sat on the couch, watching me. 3:10 a.m., nothing. 3:15 a.m., the building was silent. 3:16 a.m., I could hear my own heartbeat. 3:17 a.m., nothing happened. We sat in silence. 3:18 a.m., 3:20 a.m., 3:25 a.m., Emily exhaled. It's over. I don't know, but the time stamp had passed. We'd crossed the moment when she was supposed to die. I checked my phone, called the precinct. Chen, check the evidence room. Tell me what's there. I waited. Chen came back on. It's empty, Inspector. Whatever was there is gone. I closed my eyes. Thank you. I looked at Emily. You're safe. She started crying, not from fear, from relief. I sat with her until sunrise. Friday, 8:47 a.m. I was driving back to the precinct when dispatch called. Inspector Vane, we need you in evidence lockup. There's been another situation. My blood went cold. I was there in 8 minutes. Chen was waiting, face gray. Inspector, I don't understand. The time stamp. I pushed past him. On the evidence table, the gun, 9mm, barrel still warm. Victim, Emily Rivera. Cause, gunshot wound. Time of death, Saturday, 3:17 a.m. Not yesterday, tomorrow. The evidence had moved forward. The death had been postponed, or I'd been chasing the wrong timeline. I grabbed my phone, called Emily. No answer. I called again. Voicemail. I drove to her apartment, ran up 4 flights of stairs, pounded on her door. She opened it, confused. Elias? What? You're okay. Yes? You left 3 hours ago. What's wrong? I caught my breath. Don't go anywhere today. Stay inside. Lock the doors. It's not over, is it? No. I spent Friday documenting everything. The pattern, the evidence evolution, the time stamps. Every prevention didn't stop the murder. It delayed it, adapted it, pushed it forward. Each method more direct, more violent, more inevitable. At 2:34 p.m., I pulled the security footage from the evidence room. I needed to see how the evidence was appearing, who was placing it, how it was changing. I loaded the footage from Tuesday night, the night I discovered the knife. I watched myself enter at 3:01 a.m., approach the table, find the evidence bag. Then I rewound. At 2:47 a.m., the evidence room was empty. At 2:51 a.m., still empty. At 2:55 a.m., I froze the frame. A figure entered the evidence room, dark coat, measured movements. They placed a bag on the table and left. I enhanced the image. The figure's face became clear. It was me. I watched myself place evidence on the table at 2:55 a.m., but I didn't enter the building until 2:47 a.m. I didn't reach the evidence room until 3:01 a.m. I checked the timestamp on the footage. It was accurate, not corrupted, not edited. Somehow, I had been in the evidence room 6 minutes before I arrived. I rewound further, checked the hallway cameras. At 2:47 a.m., I entered the building. At 2:55 a.m., I was also in the evidence room. I was in 2 places at once, or I was in the wrong timeline, or I had already lived this moment and forgotten it. I played the footage forward, watched myself discover the evidence I had just watched myself place. The loop was perfect, seamless, inevitable. At 11:47 p.m., I checked the lockup again. The gun was still there. But there was something else now. A note, handwritten. The more you investigate, the more certain it becomes. No signature, just that single line. I photographed it, bagged it, logged it, and understood with cold clarity what was happening. The evidence wasn't predicting Emily's death. It was prescribing it. Every time I investigated, every time I intervened, I was making the murder more real, more inevitable. The investigation was the cause. I was the cause. Friday, 11:59 p.m. My phone rang. Emily. Elias, I've been thinking about what I said, about self-fulfilling prophecies. Emily. You investigating my murder might be the thing that causes it. You know that, right? Silence. I know, I said quietly. So, what do we do? I don't know. Yes, you do. You stop investigating. You walk away. You let whatever happens, happen. I can't do that. Even if staying makes it worse. I close my eyes. I've already lost someone because I wasn't there. I won't do it again. Elias, her voice was gentle. That wasn't your fault. And this isn't the same situation. I'm asking you, as someone who doesn't want to die, please stop investigating. I looked at the evidence log on my screen, at the surveillance footage showing me in two places at once, at the pattern of deaths that hadn't happened. I can't, I whispered. Then you're not trying to save me. You're trying to save yourself. She hung up. Saturday, 3 a.m. I was parked outside Emily's building. I'd told myself I wouldn't come. I'd decided to trust her logic, to break the pattern by not participating. I lasted until 2:47 a.m. Then I drove here anyway, because I'm the forgotten inspector, the one who can't let go, the one who investigates even when investigation makes things worse. My phone buzzed. Text from an unknown number. The evidence room. Now. I looked up at Emily's window, still dark, still quiet. I drove to the precinct. The evidence room door was open. Chen wasn't there. The hallway was empty. I walked inside. The gun was gone from the evidence table. In its place, a new evidence bag. Clear plastic, heavy, cold. Inside, a badge. My badge. The metal spattered with blood that was still wet. The tag read, Case number 292. Evidence. Inspector badge, blood spattered. Victim, Emily Rivera. Suspect, Inspector Elias Vane. Time of death, Sunday, 3:17 a.m. Cause, gunshot wound. Not tomorrow, the day after. And this time, I was listed as the suspect. I stared at it. The pattern had evolved one final time. The evidence wasn't just predicting Emily's death anymore. It was predicting that I would be the one to kill her. I heard footsteps behind me. I turned. Emily stood in the doorway, face pale, holding something in her hand. The gun from the previous evidence bag? I found this in my apartment, she said quietly. It was under my couch. I don't know how it got there. We stared at each other. Elias, she whispered, what's happening? I looked at the badge in the evidence bag, at the blood, at my name under suspect. I understood now. The investigation hadn't just been predicting the crime, it had been creating it. Every intervention, every prevention, every attempt to save her had narrowed the possibilities until there was only one left. Me, at 3:17 a.m., with a gun. The evidence had been showing me the truth all along. I wasn't investigating Emily Rivera's murder. I was rehearsing it. Give me the gun, I said. Elias, please. She handed it to me slowly. I felt the weight of it, the cold metal, the inevitability. In 48 hours, this gun would kill Emily Rivera, and I would be holding it. Sunday, 1 a.m., I'm writing this in my car outside the precinct. Emily is in protective custody, real custody this time, with officers who don't know about the evidence, who don't know the pattern. The gun is in my glove compartment. I should destroy it, throw it in the river, make it impossible. But I know now that won't work. The evidence will adapt. It will find another way. Because the evidence doesn't predict the future. It creates the future by being investigated, and I've investigated it thoroughly. I have 2 hours and 17 minutes until the timestamp. I know what I should do. Run, leave the city, refuse to be part of the pattern. But I know myself. I know I'll go to her. I know I'll try to save her one more time. And I know with terrible certainty that by trying to save her, I'll be the one who kills her. Because that's what the evidence says. And the evidence has never been wrong. The clock reads 2:59 a.m. I'm holding the gun. I'm driving to the precinct where Emily is being held. I'm going to tell them to let her go. I'm going to walk away. I'm going to break the pattern, or I'm going to fulfill it. I don't know which anymore. All I know is that in 18 minutes, Emily Rivera will be dead, and I will be holding the murder weapon. 3:17 a.m. I'm standing in the evidence room. Emily is here. I don't remember how she got here. I don't remember the last 5 minutes. The gun is in my hand. She's looking at me with fear and understanding. Elias, she says, you don't have to do this. But I'm not sure that's true anymore. I'm not sure I have a choice. I'm not sure I ever did. The evidence arrives before the crime, and the investigation makes it inevitable. I raise the gun. From somewhere in the room, I hear a sound. Click. A camera shutter. I turn. No one is there, but I know the photo has been taken. Evidence for a case that will arrive before the crime, for an inspector who will try to stop it, for a killer who doesn't know he's already committed the murder. I look back at Emily. She's on the floor. The gun is smoking in my hand. I don't remember pulling the trigger, but the evidence knew I would. It always knew. Behind me, the camera shutter clicks again. Click, and again, click. Documenting the loop, the cycle, the investigation that creates the crime. I am not the investigator. I am the evidence. And somewhere in a precinct I can no longer remember, a new bag appears on an evidence table. Inside, a blood-spattered badge. The timestamp reads Tuesday, 3:17 a.m., 2 days from now. An inspector will find it. They will investigate. They will try to stop it. And the evidence will ensure they fail. Click. The camera captures it all. Forever. This is Inspector Elias Vane. Report number 292. Filed. Never. The evidence arrives before the crime, and the investigation becomes the confession.
Another file closed, or maybe just buried. If you want to see what else they tried to hide, stay close. The next case opens soon.